Hello Year 4s and welcome to your next comprehension lesson. So we are continuing with our work on the Romans, and in the last lesson you were looking at growing up in the Roman times. So today we will be looking at family life during the Roman times. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can read through it together. Read mode. So as usual, I will start with the big paragraph, then we will read the smaller ones, and then we will go on to this page, and then we will read the questions. So family life. The idea of the family was very important to the Romans. The father, or paterno-familias, held complete power over his entire family. He had, in theory, power of life and death over his children. Wives controlled the running of the house and its finances, and supervised the children until they went to school. Larger households also had a number of slaves. Many led hard lives, but others were sometimes treated as members of the family. Marriage ceremony. So this picture here, or this sculpture, shows a couple exchanging vows and the clasped hands that symbolize their union. The groom is holding the marriage contract. A Roman wedding. In Roman times, marriages often took place for financial or political reasons. Brides wore a special dress and a bright orange veil. The marriage ceremony was held at the bride's house or at the nearby shrine. A sacrifice was offered to win the approval of the gods. Engagement rings. The groom often gave his future bride a ring engraved with clasped hands. And remember, going back to the idea of the clasped hands in the picture that we saw. Slaves and pets. Wealthy Roman homes would have seemed crowded to the modern eye, with slaves scurrying around cleaning and carrying. The household would also include working animals, such as guard dogs and cats to chase away rats. Pets were kept mainly for the children. Freed slave. Ex-slave Hedon set up this plaque to the goddess Feronia, who was popular with freed slaves. Sad slave. The model shows a kitchen slave weeping. He is either unhappy with his hard life or grinding a very strong onion. Guard dog. And you can see with the statue of the guard dog, there's a dog collar on it. Many Romans kept fierce guard dogs chained by the door to deter thieves. We look up at the portrait. This portrait shows Emperor Severus with his wife and sons Caracalla and Geta. After Severus died, Caracalla murdered Geta. Sometime later, his image was removed from the portrait. And then there's a dog tag there. This bronze dog tag says, "Hold me if I run away and return me to my master, Vivinitus, on the estate of Callistus." So it's like we would have on our dogs today. It is its name and who he belongs to. Oh, sorry, it's just who he belongs to and where he needs to be returned to. Household gods. Most Romans were religious and respected their many gods, especially the gods and spirits who protected the household. Every home had its own shrine at which the family would worship daily. It was also important to remember the family ancestors. Most people would regularly go to the family graves to pay homage to the dead. On the right-hand side here, we have La, and La is holding a dolphin-headed drinking horn. The La was the spirit of the family's ancestors. This bronze La is pouring wine from a drinking horn in one hand while holding a libation bowl in the other. If we look at the snake, crest on the snake's head. snake spirit. The household also had its own protective spirit, which was depicted as a bearded snake. And we can see in the shrine below, you can also see the snake. Right, looking here at this lady here, or this man, genius. This is the personal protective spirit of a man, and it is a woman. A woman was guarded, a woman was guarded by Juno, and this is the spirit that protected a man. The libation bowl was used to pour liquids onto the sacrificial fire on the altar, and a ball of incense was about to be burnt. That's what he's got in his hand. So this one, the household shrine, the lararium, or the household shrine from a Pompeii house, which is what you can see in that picture, is shaped like a temple. So the household shrine is the one with the snake in it, and it's shaped like a temple. Dedicated ex-slaves. Romans often had very good relations with their slaves, and when they freed them, they often became their patrons. This tomb monument shows Lucius Antistius Sarculio and his wife Antistia. The inscription records that the monument was set up by Rufus and Anthus, two of their freed slaves. Clearly, Rufus and Anthus greatly admired their former masters. The ex-slaves must have become wealthy themselves to be able to afford such a splendid monument. So let's look at our 5 questions today. Using information from the text, put a tick in the correct box to show whether each statement is true or false. Families were very important to the Romans. People got married for political and financial reasons. Romans were not very religious. The law was the spirit of wealth. Looking at the Roman wedding paragraph, find and copy a sentence that tells you that Romans did not get married for love. And it's the whole sentence, please. According to the text, what was exchanged between a couple during their marriage ceremony that symbolized their union? And those are the words in bold that you need to pay attention to. Symbolize their union. Question 4. Look at the section headed Dedicated Ex-Slaves and complete the sentence below by ticking one of the choices. Many slaves who they paid, Romans often had many slaves who they paid a lot of money. Romans often had things done for them by their children. Romans often had very good relationships with their slaves. Romans often had 1 or 2 slaves who worked for them. Sorry, there was a bit of a mistake. It's just been corrected. So the final question says, use the information from the text, tick one box in each row to show whether this statement is a fact or an opinion. So it's either a fact, as in the truth, or it's something that somebody thinks. So dogs were used as guard dogs. Snakes were seen as protective spirits, and everybody was scared of snakes. So you are going to tick whether it was a fact or an opinion for each one of these. Don't forget to share your work with us on Tapestry, please, and make sure that you have answered all the questions and you've read through the questions and answered them correctly.